It's Wednesday, December 18th, 2013. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, the anime Silver Spoon.
Let's do this.
So on my way home from work today, I encountered a man derping about with an M4 carbine.
Why would a guy be allowed to have that in Manhattan?
Well, actually, it was in New Jersey. I was in New Jersey doing a thing, and I had to go home
So
through
where in New Jersey was this?
like Exchange Place where that PATH station is.
You're just allowed to have M4s there?
Well, it was one
and
of those...
allowed to derp with them? I mean,
so it was
it's
like,
one thing to walk down the street holding a gun or having one in a holster.
so it was PATH, like the security. Like, okay, you know how in Grand Central there's like the
so
military
it's a guy
dudes?
who was supposed to have one.
Yeah, with M4s, they kind of hang around sometimes.
Why was he derping with it, getting ready
So
to
here's
shoot
what
someone
derped.
and get all over the evening news?
Here's what derp. There were two of these guys, and they're walking and talking and doing their thing, and there's a ton of people with guns like that all around.
Okay.
So I'm kind of walking slow, like, something's not going on, is it? Because there's, like, heavily armored cop cars everywhere. There's cops everywhere. They're all heavily armed, but they're all kind of walking around and joking. And in the end, I guess it was probably like a training, or maybe it was like new guys, first day on the job. I don't know. So I go into the PATH station, and in front of me, two guys with M4s are kind of walking. And the first one goes through the revolving door. And then, like, the gun's a little too long for the small revolving door. And it, like, everything all bangs together. And he gets kind of half stuck and has to, like, back his way out. And as this happens, the guy walking behind him, I see him reach out like he's going to be like, yo, dog, don't go in the revolving door. And then he just turns to the left, ignores the guy who gets derped and stuck in the sliding door, walks around to the regular door laughing to himself. So the moral is, if you have to get away from guys who are, I don't want to say rent-a-cops, but people with M4s who carry them around but don't use them all the time, or longer guns even, if you can get through a revolving door, they might not be able to easily follow you unless there's a non-revolving door nearby.
Was it a glass revolving door?
Oh, yeah, he could probably try to shoot me through it.
Yeah, or just shoot the glass and run through.
That would actually be kind of hard because it was one of those kind of narrow revolving doors. Mostly it was the idea that he didn't connect the fact, kind of like a dog who has a bone that's too big and he can't get through the dog door. It's a cop who doesn't...
Shouldn't you just hold it vertically in front of you? Wouldn't that be enough?
I guess he could have, but it's kind of like he didn't think about it. He didn't think about these two different parts of his life.
No different than if you had, say, an umbrella. Or a sword.
Yeah, but you're generally holding
cane.
umbrellas vertically all the time, even when they're closed or open. You're not holding your gun vertically. You're holding it at the ready.
At the ready for big danger in New Jersey.
Yeah, well, you know, they have that like kind of sideways holster where it kind of hangs there. But basically, I think my bone is too big was not connected to the I'm about to walk through a revolving door parts of his brain.
All right.
Yeah, much more fun. I got food poisoning over the weekend.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, skiing at Hunter Mountain, which was awesome. There was crazy blizzard snow.
It's the number one most made fun of, lowest quality rent-a-mountain around.
The thing is, it's actually the highest quality mountain around.
Except everyone else
No,
except you says differently.
Who would ever say that? The mountains around New York City suck fucking balls.
That's what they're saying. But these are the people who like go to Vermont and Colorado and
Yeah.
shit.
Well, I also go to places like Vermont. It's way better there. But within a reasonable drive of New York City, Hunter Mountain is so much better than every other mountain that's within a reasonable drive.
Yes, at my house, Time Warner Cable is the best internet service you can get.
No, it's actually a pretty good mountain, especially if you want to train. Like, it has reasonably difficult terrain. The back mountain is pretty good. So if you want to train or practice without wasting your like nice fancy ski trip somewhere better and bigger, it's a great place to ski. It's actually a really good place. Mm-hmm. You've never even skied.
No, I'm just saying what other people say.
Who has said that you know?
People in my work.
Name anyone.
People in my work.
Who? What did they actually say about Hunter Mountain?
They were like, yeah, I really want to go skiing, but I'm not going to go to shitty Hunter Mountain.
All right, so I take it they're taking an entire weekend
and I said my friend goes there, and they're like, yeah, that place is so low rent, I'm going to Vermont.
All right, it's actually well, where in Vermont? Killington? Killington's a pretty good mountain, but the terrain's not better. It's just a bigger mountain.
I don't know where they went in Vermont. I think someplace where their like friend had a cabin, some shit. I don't know.
Okay, that doesn't really narrow it down.
I don't know.
Killington's where most people go. It's where most people know about. But Hunter Mountain is seriously, there's a bunch of other skiing around here, but I can take a bus in the morning to the mountain, ski, and take a bus back home. And on that bus back home, despite the best conditions Hunter Mountain's had in like 5 years because it actually snowed, there was, ate some pizza. And on this bus...
Where'd this pizza come from?
Hunter Mountain's cafeteria.
Okay.
So 2 hours later, I wake up on the bus, and the movie Down Periscope with Kelsey Grammer is playing.
Okay.
On the TV, really loudly.
Yep.
And I feel kind of nauseous.
Okay.
So I'm wondering, am I just sick? What's going on? And then I cartoon vomit. You know when someone vomits in cartoon, their cheeks go like, whoop?
Mm-hmm.
That happened.
Okay. So you went to the
So I
the bus
swallowed
bathroom?
it all. And then I staggered to the back of the bus and vomited a copious amount of pizza into the bus.
Now, do you know for sure that it was food poisoning pizza? What did you eat for breakfast?
So I did not eat breakfast.
What did you eat before dinner?
For lunch, I had chili, also at Hunter Mountain.
Uh-oh.
But the chili digested. I ate
That
the chili
doesn't mean
at like,
anything.
I ate the chili at like 11. I ate the pizza at like 4.
Well, it doesn't matter which one it was because it was Hunter Mountain food and Hunter Mountain food.
I got sick at about 7.
So
So-
Hunter Mountain food was guilty no matter what.
So this is where my odyssey from hell begins because the bus ride is only supposed to take like 2.5 hours.
But the snow
So the snow turned into a blizzard, which delayed the bus heavily.
wasn't a blizzard.
And up there it was.
Okay.
Scott, I don't think you realize how much more snow they get outside of New York City.
There was. I used to live there.
Yeah, there was like 7 inches of snow up there.
I lived there for the better part of a decade.
Yeah, we used to live in Rochester. Remember that?
Yeah.
Remember that? We'd wake up one morning,
That's what I'm saying.
we'd see our basement window of our basement apartment literally entirely blocked with snow. I'd wake up and say, "Hey, Scott, fuck." And you'd yell, "Fuck." And then we'd go to school, fuck.
Mm-hmm.
So then the bus broke down
All right.
at like 9 o'clock. So already I've been on this bus
At least you can
vomiting.
get off the bus and vomit now.
No, it broke down on the side of the freeway next to nothing in the middle of a blizzard.
Right. So you can go out to the nothing and vomit in the nothing.
No, they wouldn't let us off the bus. It was dark and dangerous. There were cars sliding around on the freeway everywhere, and a bus was broken down.
The bus is guarding you from the slip and slide.
No,
of cars.
actually, a lot of people get killed by getting out of vehicles that are stopped on the sides of freeways like that.
Even if you go in, I mean, if you go into the road, yeah, but if you go into the grass,
Yeah, that's usually where you get hit.
but as long as you stay with the bus in between you and the highway,
No, because the bus will get hit and slide into you.
the bus will just fall on top
Also,
of you.
Scott, there was not much room on the side of the road. I looked out there.
There's enough room for some puke.
Plus, I could just keep vomiting in the bathroom because it was food poisoning.
How
I
did
vomited every like 18 minutes, almost to the second.
How did everyone else feel about the bathroom smelling like vomit?
They were very quiet about it.
They were not also vomiting?
No, because no one. So when I first got on the bus, all I could think was, I'm so much smarter than all these people because everyone was super hungry and kind of like, oh my God, I want some food. And I walked on the bus with the 2 slices of pizza that I bought at Hunter Mountain. And I was like, I'm eating this in front of everyone. I feel so happy. So the movie Down Periscope looped for the 3rd time.
So now it's looping.
It's looping. It's
and now
loud.
no one says anything about that?
People seem okay with it. I don't know if it was all snowboarders, so I imagine they were just high.
Oh, so they didn't need to.
I think I was literally the only skier on the bus.
Okay.
This one person thought they knew me, and they knew I was because I had a Red Wings jersey on. They're like, "Oh, you're Aaron's friend, right?" And I was like, maybe." And she's like, "From Detroit, right? The guy from Detroit, Aaron's friend." I know like 3 people named Aaron, and I am from Detroit, and I didn't think that I was wearing the Red Wings jersey, so how they would intuit that. So this person thought they knew me, so they tried to offer sympathy, but then I realized they didn't know me, and it was hard to back out of that social situation. And then the bus exploding was great, because basically we're driving, and suddenly I hear the bus driver go, "Well, fuck." And then white smoke just starts pouring out of the front of the bus. So the bus stops, and everyone in the bus is sitting there like, oh, man. There are other things that happen on this journey. There was Chinese girl who was late to the bus every time you could possibly be late to the bus.
Why did they wait for her?
I don't know.
Just leave her there.
They actually tried to leave her, but then they saw her running after the bus just as they went to leave. I mean, you can't just leave when you see them like
Yes,
10 feet
you
away.
can.
Even though I would.
You totally can.
I would.
That'll give them a story and you a story.
Other highlights involved 10 minutes on the road when this obviously stoned guy staggers up to the front and he's like, yo, bus driver, if you could find it in your heart to stop at like a beer store for like 10 minutes, we collected a bunch of tips and we'll make sure you get nicely tipped. And he's like, you can't drink alcohol on the bus. And the guy's like, oh, we're not going to buy beer. And the bus driver's like, you said a beer store. What did you expect to buy at the beer store? And the guy was just like, well, sodas. And bus driver's like, sit down.
The bus driver should have been like, you're not allowed to drive beer on this bus, so make sure you only drink beverages in brown paper bags on this bus.
Dude, I've been on these buses where sometimes they hand everyone a beer as they get back on the bus.
Right.
So yeah, that was my weekend. 2 days of being bedridden, vomiting every 20 minutes. That was awesome. So Hunter Mountain, I'd like to thank you for probably the 4th best skiing day of my entire life.
You going back?
And for the ridiculous food poisoning. I actually was so mad about this that I filed an official complaint form through the New York State Department of Health.
Okay.
Let me tell you, that website is archaic as fuck, and I had to fax this motherfucker over there.
Okay.
So yeah,
news.
got any anime?
Yeah, well, there's some news, right? And you know, I know we talk about this a lot on this show, but this is actually almost definitely going to be the last time we talk about it ever.
Bitcoins.
No. Anime News Nina. So
What?
Anime News Nina is the best webcomic.
That was my news.
It's my news.
That was my news.
Well, that's a problem, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, Anime News Nina. It's been over for a while. So sad. Wah, wah. But she just today started the Kickstarter to get a physical copy of a book that I assume will contain every single Anime News Nina comic ever, plus extra stuff.
This is definitely worth getting if you're an anime fan.
And it's like $25 just to get to the paper book level, which is totally reasonable.
I mean, it wasn't the best webcomic ever.
It's just a really good webcomic.
It's kind of, you know what it's like? It's like the Bad Boys of Computer Science in that for the people it was for, it spoke to us.
For us?
Yes.
It's for us.
And it had that sort of, it had the level of snark that you so rarely see in an official sponsored webcomic. Like the comic for, I don't know.
There's
like,
an NFL comic right now.
Yeah, or if Nike, the shoe brand, made a comic about shoes, it wouldn't be a comic that made fun of people buying expensive shoes.
It would be garbage.
Anime News Nina was the comic that made fun of anime fans.
Yep, it's like, here's a comic insulting our
only
customers.
Anime News network
sponsored by the
there
store.
is.
It's like you go into a GameStop and you buy a comic book, and it's the official GameStop comic book, and it just makes fun of people. Like, look at these dumbasses selling their games back to GameStop because they're all poor, and they can just sell them on Amazon or just buy them somewhere else to begin with. But yeah, there's a Kickstarter for it now. This is the last Anime News Nina thing that will likely ever exist. So it's the last time we'll talk about it, which is why it's worth talking about.
So I guess in other news, Anime News Nina came to an end, and it turns out that there's going to be a Kickstarter. I don't know.
You really don't have another news?
I think there's a new My Little Pony mini comic that features Luna coming out.
No, I mean there's two.
I'm like scraping Tumblr and Twitter.
So for people who don't know,
news.
the IDW prints two different. Well, now I think three different My Little Pony comics now. Right? There's My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, which is the the straight up the comic that is serial, and it tells is stories and is just the real comic, right? It's the comic of My Little Pony. Then there's another one that's super new, which is literally just take the TV show and turn it into comics directly. You don't need to read that if you watch a TV show. I'm not buying that shit. It's just a waste of money, right? Then there's another one that's My Little Pony micro series, and the way that works is each issue of it focuses on one character and only one character. So I guess the Luna issue is coming, or is coming out now, or is soon, or whatever. But yeah, I'm actually more excited for that series because
of this cover here. That is what I saw.
No, but I think what's going to happen though is I think either A, the series will end, which will be sad, or B, they'll start digging into the lower and lesser characters more and more. It'll be like...
Which could be like...
You get like the Quills and Sofas issue, right? It's like, oh shit, I'm all over that.
I was about to say, that's when Mo Sislak gets his own episode.
Exactly.
I'm so about
Simpsons
that.
comics, for people who don't know, Simpsons comics are not bad, and they've been going on for fuck ever.
Yep.
And they've already done this with pretty much every Simpsons character imaginable. I have Professor Frink comics. Comes with 3D glasses.
But seriously...
that work.
the new season of My Little Pony is fine. It's good. I
It's
like
ponies.
it. I'm watching it. We'll talk
It's not
about it later.
Equestria Girls.
It's good. It's pretend Equestria Girls didn't exist. The My Little Pony comics are ace, and you should be reading them.
Yeah.
They are hilarious. So anyway, things of the day. Hey Scott, back when we were at RIT, living in Colony, I had a terrible book on the bookshelf, and I was really interested in that topic for a time. Do you remember what that book was about?
Something or is that Egypt alien nonsense?
Yeah, well, so the book was Egypt, like basically Egypt research.
Some guy who believed aliens built pyramids.
The problem is he didn't put the aliens into this book until like 3/4 of the way through. You read this book and it's like,
You believed that shit.
I did not
for
believe
a
the
while.
alien shit.
You believed it at one point.
Not the aliens.
When you got to RIT, you believed all sorts of crazy shit, and then you learned you were wrong.
Yeah, because I read all
you
this
were
stuff.
believing like that for fairies who lived in the woods.
Like, here's an example. I believed, because I read
And
all
elves
these
and
studies
dragons and
about the Great
Witchcrafts.
Sphinx, and how the Great Sphinx was clearly eroded by water at some point, and not by sand.
Not
so
by
it was
Napoleon's
probably
cannon
older
shooting its nose off.
than it should have been. And
It wasn't Napoleon's cannon. Like Alexander the Great had a cannon somehow.
or that the Great Pyramid, the complex at Giza, those 3 pyramids actually are aligned, like they have the same arrangement and brightness as Orion's belt. And yeah, that stuff's all completely bullshit.
Anything in a set of 3. Orion's belt. But the 3
But-
little pigs? Orion.
So that book was awful, but the one thing that I learned from it that was real was there was a study, the Upawalt, whatever, it was a project. Well, because one thing that is true, there are these shafts in the Great Pyramid.
Yeah.
No one really knows exactly what they were for, but they're there. And a long time ago, like in the 90s, people built a robot, some
and
German team.
they sent the robots down the shaft.
Yep.
Everyone knows this.
And there was a big event on TV where they live showed, like, this is what's here. What
I
are we going to
saw
find? What are
that
we going to
same
find?
thing.
You remember what they found?
Nothing.
Nope. They found a door,
Okay.
and they couldn't get past it. And there was a little handle on the door, and then the robot couldn't go any further.
Okay.
And it was basically nothing. So even after I realized that book was just
By
bullshit,
now, nobody's opened the door.
so I wondered for years if anyone had ever followed up on that study, like what was behind that door.
It's like
and
we
I could
can
never find
easily open
anything.
that door now. I'm pretty sure if we wanted to.
Yeah, so it turns out only recently did anything actually happen with that.
All right, what did they do?
So another team,
Send another robot.
made a new robot, because remember, that first project was in like the 90s. Robot technology fucking sucked back then.
They found a robbed tomb that's
So,
already been grave robbed.
There's a new robot that was just way better in every way. And I found this is like some crazy fan website, but I did check it out. The graphic design of this site aside, this is the best collection of all the actual pictures and stuff that they found with this new robot in the Great Pyramid. And they found cool shit.
How cool could it be?
So behind that door, there was another door.
Nice.
And they drilled a hole in that other door, and they actually found a bunch of hieroglyphics written in like this red ochre back there.
Okay.
And all this other stuff. And all the research that they found to date, everything they found since then, which happened in like 2012. So relatively recently. And it looks like it was only disrupted by the troubles in Egypt right now. So there's going to be further study, but this is actually, if you ever wondered what the deal was with that door, it actually was only recently that we found out anything. And what we found was pretty cool. Like, look, we actually found that there's the final door. There's like this blocking slab. And it looks like there's space behind it, and there's these metal loops that are kind of stuck into the back of it that looks like it was used to set them in.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just like this crazy collection of all the pictures and all the detail. Like, look, even the raw composites. So if you ever cared about the pyramids, here's some of the hieroglyphics they found.
Oh.
They think they're engineering marks.
Maybe.
This is actually pretty cool. This gives closure to a part of my life. I've wondered for so long what the fuck was
They
behind
didn't find
that door.
an alien skull?
Nope, they found another door. Hooray.
Door number 1. It's a goat.
Here's
Are
a
you gonna
quote. Here's a quote. At first glance, the second blocking stone seems to be just a large, relatively rough-hewn block, stating at the end of the U block. However, the intriguing thing is that there appear to be red ochre mason's marks on both walls at the far end where they meet the second blocking stone. This suggests that
There's
the
no way
U-block-
humans could have done this.
Actually, this article is like, humans clearly did this. Though the graphic design of this website might lead you to believe otherwise. The project is called in similarly unpronounceable word to the previous Upawala Huawa project is the
It's a Hawaiian or Egyptian?
Jedi project.
Okay.
I guess Jedi. Maybe it's a Java parameter like -d Jedi.
Anyway.
This is pretty cool.
All right. So
Also, this robot is so much smaller than the robot they used on that old documentary. It's
modern
amazing.
technologies. Yeah.
I know.
All right. So, you know.
Upu out.
Right.
Ooh,
That's
you-
definitely Egyptian. Yeah.
UPUAUT
Right.
was the previous one.
Okay. So, you know, dim mak, right? You just hit a guy in the back of the neck and he dies.
Yep. In
Right.
fact, I remember that video we found where
And
we were
how
like,
it's-
we
that was-
watched that video and we were both like, did we just watch someone die?
And it's complete horseshit.
Yep.
Basically, people just pretend.
I mean, well,
And it's it's basically hypnotism, right? Because people believe in it so much that it works on them, right?
I mean, I saw that episode of Batman.
Right, exactly. So that was actually one of the best episodes.
It was.
And it totally can exist in Batman universe. Why not?
It's right up there with that the episode with the giant computer.
Hard act.
Yeah,
All
Hard
right. So
Act.
anyway, Hard Act Part 2 also. All right. So
Well, obviously,
apparently
I'm not
some-
going to say just Hard Act Part 1.
yeah, there's another thing besides dim mak called EFO, which is empty force something.
What?
Empty force is even crazier than dim mak. These guys believe you don't even have to touch someone. You can basically just like knock them down, right?
Well, wait.
And
I
it's
actually
the
studied that
same-
at RIT. I'm doing it right now to all the listeners.
Yeah. So it's basically the same idea, right? Is that you have some master of martial arts and he has followers who truly believe in it so much that they're hypnotized into believing it works. So when he uses this, EFO on them, they actually fall down and believe that, they're not just falling down on purpose.
There is possibly another explanation. They might simply be
Faking it.
bootlickers.
It's possible that they're all just faking it on purpose. Anyway, so one of these guys, EFO guys, he had like a sort of, I guess, free trial class. Like, come see a demonstration and see if you want to, and if you like it, sign up for because he's trying to make money, right? He's like, sign up for my classes and you can learn to do this too. So they allowed cameras at this thing, which is unusual.
Big mistake, dude.
So some skeptic dudes showed up with their cameras and they're videoing, right? And they get up and they're like, "Oh, can you try it on me?" And he's like, "All right." And he's like trying it on the guy and it doesn't do anything because he doesn't believe in
The
it.
video is so great.
And then he's like, "All right, can I push you?" And he's like pushing the guy around, just like push. And it's like the EFO's not working on him, right? And the best part is at the end, this dude gets up and he's like, "I'm probably the weakest guy in this room, right? But I can do this." And he goes over like a punching bag and he just punches it a few times. He's like, if someone comes and does that to you and, the EFO, is that going to stop him? Can I do this to you? And he's like, "No, you can't do that to me." "And you only use EFO against me?" He's like, "No, you can't do that. We're not going to, let you punch me." And it's like, "Oh, really? All right." And then the guy's like, "Well, you're going to pay for lessons in EFO?" He's like, "I came here, because I was going to sign up for this if it really worked. Clearly, it doesn't work.
Now,
If it worked, I'd totally sign up for this shit. I want to knock people over without having to touch them."
all of you out there, take this lesson to heart. If you want to punk people who believe in woo-woo, you need to pretend to be earnestly interested and not just shoot them down right away. Tell them, play the ardent believer or the person who wants to believe.
Yeah, it's much better to go in and be like, "Well, listen, came here expecting to, have all my diseases cured, but I come here and I'm still just as sick as ever. In fact, I'm more sick.
What
so
went
this
wrong?
is a bunch
Make
of
your magic
horseshit."
work.
Yeah.
I really want your magic to work.
How come your magic's not working? Don't be all like, "This magic is bullshit," right?
You do that after the fact, the post hoc.
Right, you go in for the faith healer. You're like, "Oh, heal me, faith healer. I still have cancer, faith healer. You didn't do shit. I'm dying. It's still real. Oh, it hurts even worse. Oh my god. Oh, it's not helping."
So, should you go to the faith healer with fake illnesses and then be like, "Oh, you made it worse. Now I can't see. I can't see."
Bring some like those blood things with you, so it looks like it's
That would be
some fake
great. The
fake
faith
vomit.
healer like does his thing and then just blood starts
no,
exploding out
have
of
like
you.
an Ipecac capsule like in the corner of your mouth, and then once he tries his faith healing, bite into it.
No, you gotta go one step further. You gotta
Blarg,
go those
blarg,
faith healers, the ones who like walk up to you and go like, "Ba-bam," and knock you down.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as he does it, blood needs to explode from your eyes, your ears, and your chest.
They might be like, "Oh, we got all the bad blood out of his body." He's healed. You can't give him any excuse. It's got to be obvious that it, you know.
The vomit. He has vomited out the demon. You see the problem here?
Yes, exactly. You got to do it just right.
So yeah, that's pretty awesome. In the meta moment, the book club book is
Aiduru by William Gibson. I started reading it. I read like 3 chapters.
I'm most of the way through it again. I'm reading it twice. I'll see. I've lapped Scott.
Daddy 2 pee-pee.
It's if I had to say anything about this book, it is so 90s dystopia.
Sure.
Like this might as well be set in the same world as Strange Days.
Okay.
I like it though. I liked it when I read it before, and I like it again.
Other meta things. So we're always hyping up all the places to go and see us on the internet, like Twitter, YouTube, our website, our forums, our IRC channel. Just emailing us the newsletter I haven't sent out in a while that I completely forgot about that I'll send out again, etc. There is one place I was reminded of today that I forgot existed because I don't really use it, but other people do use it. That is L Steam Group. There is an official Geeknights Steam group. It has existed since like 2007. There's like hundreds of Geeknights listeners in there. So if you are a loser and you have no one to play Steam games with, and you need friends to play Steam games with, join that Steam group called Geeknights. It's just a public group. You can just join it. And if you see other people are online in that group, you can message them, and at least you will have one thing in common, which is that you know who we are. And then you can play games together and don't suck at games.
Yeah.
Because a lot of those people are good at games, better than us.
Also, we finally, due to you guys constantly asking for it, I've uploaded the entirety of Beyond Dungeons & Dragons as we presented it on Friday at PAX Australia in Melbourne.
All right.
So it's up there. You can watch it in its fullness, and more video to come as we have time. The production of new episodes of Geeknights Presents was somewhat delayed by my food poisoning, so hopefully we'll pick it up sometime shortly after the holidays.
Yep. We also have a new show we're going to do.
Yep.
You'll see it when it comes.
It's a new Geeknights Presents that
I
is
would
not,
watch. I think we might change the name of it. I got some other name ideas.
Yeah, but at the same time, Geeknights Presents is a pretty good brand name.
Well, you know, you want to keep your eye on the Twitch channel.
Yes,
and if you follow the Twitch channel, this has been happening to me lately, is you'll get messages like on your phone and stuff whenever the Twitch channel goes live, and then you know to go and watch. So do we have a Geeknights Twitch channel?
No, I have mine and you have yours.
All right, so I'm going to make a Geeknights one.
Okay.
And then I'll tweet it on the Geeknights Twitter and such, and then I'll post it around, and everyone follow it. And then if we go live on that channel, then you'll know. That way we don't have to like tell you what time the show is or anything. And then of course that shit will be on YouTube eventually.
Yep, in some sort of edited, compiled fashion. But rest assured, like other projects we've done, we're excited enough about this one to tell you that it's coming, but not excited enough to tell you what it is.
Because we don't know if it'll actually.
We gotta do a test run at least to make sure this works.
We can't shit talk, right? Yeah, we got to make sure it works.
However, if this works,
can we do what we think we want to do?
I will say this: test audiences have found this to be utterly hilarious.
How many test audiences? One Emily.
One Natalie and Judith, I believe.
Okay.
They watched one time.
That's true.
Plus, there were other similar tests. In fact, I remember way back a particular thing involving Spelunky happened.
Okay.
And I remember that being hilarious to the few people who were in the room who weren't you. Oh, yeah, join our forum. It's bigger and badder than it's ever been. Yeah, I'm double saying it because we're paying a lot of money for this forum now.
That's right. Go to MagFest.
Oh, MagFest. I don't think it's sold out, but the hotel is.
If you don't go to MagFest, kill yourself.
Oh, yeah, and we're going to be at MagFest presenting bad games. Games 10 and 30 years from now. Video game controllers will be on that panel. And or Scott will be on that panel, and I'll be
see
on
how that panel goes.
Privacy and games.
I'm gonna sit on that panel to sit on another panel.
I'm gonna pick one of the panels we're on and just be super adversarial. Like whatever position the zeitgeist takes in the room, I'm just gonna take the exact opposite.
I don't think the game controllers panel will necessarily be bad, but basically right now it has no focus. Like there's so many things to talk about when it comes to controllers that you could talk for days about just like one controller, right? So. You know, it's like each person has like a different thing they want to talk about, and there's no real unifying idea. So I'm basically just going to sit there and, you know, say whatever comes to mind.
Well, the privacy and games one, the discussion on what to talk about took about a half hour, and we all agreed there's an agenda, and it looks really fun.
Okay.
And games 10 and 30 years from now, you saw that email. I got to respond to that. I don't want the audience to interact at all.
No.
I got to so when I send the email saying, yo, I don't want the audience to interact, I want you to also say that so that we have enough people saying that to override the people who want audience interaction.
Of course.
Otherwise, I'm going to be guys, listeners, if you're at MagFest, I will tell you if audience interaction is going to happen at that panel we don't want it to happen in. If it does, I will warn you, I want you to show up and interact awesomely. And I mean destroy the panel.
Sure.
So recall a while ago, we did that panel at Anime Boston. We reviewed the season of anime before it came out. One of the shows we talked about was Silver Spoon.
And we looked at that one and we prejudged it based on a JPEG and a short paragraph description that it was a show with some serious quality potential because A, did not look perverted in any way, B, was not a typical anime fighting kind of plot of shallowness, and C, it looked bright and colorful and happy times, but not, totally wacky and crazy kid show times.
Yep, straight up based on a manga, not a light novel, probably not too porny.
Mm-hmm. So Silver Spoon is not a sitcom from the 80s about
I was going to make a Silver Spoons joke later.
a kid so rich he had his own pinball machine and shit.
So, really, what we said is that we expected this to be one of those sort of slice of life camaraderie shows that simultaneously was going to teach you stuff about farms, and it is that to a T.
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily it's not super slice of life because there is a plot, right? The plot is
a plot that resolved itself already.
That's right. We'll get to that, right? But the plot is basically you have this kid. He's going to high school. For whatever reason, he doesn't want to be near his parents. He wanted to get as far away from his parents as he could. So he went to a boarding school, and his teacher from his middle school figured out that he should go to this farm school. So he went there. He had no interest in farming whatsoever. And he gets there, and everyone else who's there is someone who wants to do farming or is like works on a farm or lives on a farm or is a farmer. And they're like, one girl's like, I want to make cheese. That's what I'm going to do in my life. And
that girl is the second cutest girl in the show, too.
Yeah. And the girl you're supposed to like is the cutest.
Yeah,
right. And that girl is like, she wants horses. And the other one is like cows. They're all about, cows winning blue ribbons.
Oh my God, those guys
the
who are in
Holstein Club.
The Holstein Club is the best.
And then you got, all kinds of different, right? Everything you could possibly think of on a farm, right? There's someone there. And it's like they all know what they want to do with their lives already, and this guy shows up and he's like, oh my God, eggs come from a chicken butt. It came from a butt.
The guy's like, it's a cloaca. He's like, no, it's an anus. Anus.
He can't even eat an egg now that he's seen.
There's this great scene where he's sitting there in the cafeteria and everyone's eating these eggs and he keeps picturing it coming out of the chicken and he just like can't eat it and he's freaking out and he just keeps thinking in his head, anus.
Anus, Giles.
Anus, Giles.
Can't eat the egg because it came out of a butt.
I mean, the show starts
it's like,
out.
we clean the egg, dude, and that's a shell too.
The show pretty much immediately gets into a very kind of important point about farming, that farmers and food involves killing.
Yeah, I mean, even to go see a vet at like the horse race track, and it's like, one guy, he's like, I want to be a vet. So he asked he's like, hey, well, what does it take to be a vet? And he's like, got to be able to kill animals. If you can't deal with killing animals, can't be a vet.
Yep. Or right away, like they help a bunch of upperclassmen get some chickens that were loose, and then the guy's like, "Oh, thanks." Then immediately starts killing them right in front of him, and then says, "Oh, I'll give you some of the chicken later."
And then he gives him some of the chicken later, and he remembers that chicken's head being cut off.
So the show really, really kind of elegantly handles the whole dichotomy of a farmer, on one hand, caring very much for the welfare of their animals, while simultaneously recognizing that those animals are to be killed and eaten.
Yeah, he named a pig. He named the pig Pork Bowl.
Episode 9 appears to be when that gets resolved.
He's going to become bacon.
Episode 9, Hachikitten hesitates, and it's a picture of him and Pork Bowl.
Pork Bowl is done.
Pork Bowl is going to become Bacon Bowl.
Pork Bowl is definitely going to become Bacon Bowl. 100%.
But like the opener has this really poignant moment where you see him sitting down, and there's a spread of food in front of him, all this beef and eggs and meat. And then behind him, walking up, are the ghosts of all these baby pigs and baby cows and baby chickens.
Yep.
And then he eats the meat, and he's really conflicted. And then the fat girl steals it.
The fat girl's actually pretty cool, right?
I like her.
Yeah, it's like you see a character like that, and it's like, oh, they're gonna be making like fat jokes and shit.
I
and
knew
they-
a girl who looked almost exactly like that when I was in high school.
Right, but it's like she's actually crazy awesome. She's smart. She's not, she doesn't have she has a good personality. She works hard. She doesn't, she just looks that way.
I like when they meet her brother and he's super tall and
they're
handsome
both in the
athletic.
ping pong club and are crazy awesome at ping pong.
Yep.
Right? And it's like, all right, they didn't make this fat character like, the annoying character that you see in a lot of other shows. There actually is no bad character or annoying character. Like everyone is a good guy in the whole show.
Yep, but everyone's got some deal going on. And the character designs are all over the place, which I actually really like. Like every character is extremely unique.
Yep.
To the point that I recognize.
I love Buddha horse racing cheese guy.
Oh my God, the teacher who looks like Buddha who hides cheese on campus.
He's not
and-
just hiding cheese. He's hiding an entire cheese cellar.
Never mind the fact
A whole
that he is
cheese cellar. You know how many wheels are down there?
that he is a straight up gambling addict.
Right?
They go to the horse track.
But
and
at the
he's
same
there.
time, when he's out with the horse club, he's so Buddha-like, right?
Yeah, but when he,
It's just like he's multiple. They just keep using the same character in different situations. So like, all right, he's a cheese hoarder and a gambling addict and a Buddha and a horse, and he's so calm and takes care of the horse. He's all nicely. And...
But at the same time, he has aspects of the Buddha, or he'll say, there's one moment where the characters want something from him, and he's like, no, I won't give it to you. But the way he says that is something like, the root of all human intuition and whatever is greed. And they're like, you're just being stingy.
Yeah, you're greed. Give us the cheese.
But, yeah, the show is just really fun, really well put together. The characters are all
It just makes you
interesting.
feel good. It's a feel-good show.
Every time I thought, oh, the show's going to get boring, it would just immediately skip to something new. Like it keeps staying fresh and introducing new elements
Right.
and new characters and new plots and new twists.
So that's the thing I think is almost the show's problem, right? Is that the conflicts and are all resolved so quickly. It's like this guy gets to the, you think the show's going to be about him learning to deal with the farm.
Because
he
he
learns
clearly-
to deal with it right away. He's like he, after the chicken thing, he's like, nope, don't make assumptions. And he basically,
But he doesn't deal with it 100%. He still has issues.
he still
but
hesitates a little bit, but he's like, no. Like he knows consciously, like, I've learned my farm lesson. I'm doing this. And he just does it every time.
Like, I was so worried that Hachiken was going to have this long-running gag where he would, flip out every time a farm thing happened, and it'd be a big deal.
It's like, no, he learns his lesson once, and then he learns his lesson mostly, right?
Yep.
And that's refreshing that someone learned their lesson so quickly, but it also basically removes a whole conflict from the show because it got resolved so early.
It's like in Fushigi Yugi. You really want Miyaka and Tamahome to be together. You really want that to happen. And as soon as they're together, the next episode, you really wish one of them would die.
Yeah, right? Exactly. It's like, oh, they got together, now what?
But he has a sort of more existential crisis, as Scott was alluding to, around the fact that he doesn't know why he's there. He doesn't want to be there. He doesn't get the farm. And
yeah, it's like he's really good at everything, though. But there still is a question of what is he going to do?
I like how he looks down on the other kids at first because they're really dumb at things like math.
Yeah, he's the number one smartest kid in the school.
I really, well, in the beginning, it looked like they were setting him up to be really good at academics, but fail all the farm stuff. But now he's top student in
Yeah,
everything.
He's just the best.
But like Keiji, that kid who's like, you got to tutor me in math. And he's like, this is middle school stuff, dude. And he's like, and Keiji says, never underestimate my stupidity.
That's a good line.
And then he's like, all right, fine, I'll start teaching
Right,
you. So
right, but-
this is X, and that's Y. And she's like, X?
All right, but other than the mystery of why does he hate his parents and want to get away, which is clearly something to do with, the whole Japanese, pressure to do well, whatever, right? He probably just worked crazy hard studying and didn't have a life in middle school or whatever.
Yeah, he was going to that cram school, all that
Right,
crap.
Other than that, right, mystery of what actually happened that brought him to the farm school, which is already mostly revealed, not completely revealed, but mostly revealed. It's like, I guess is he gonna get together with the girl and
But his finding of some sort of purpose, the 26 episodes of Initial D are distilled into 4 episodes.
clear, he's learned he likes this stuff and he's learned he can be good at whatever he wants to be good at.
And at the end of episode
but what is
4
he actually gonna do? Like, what is his area of expertise going to be?
So I wonder if, because it's interesting, I've never had this happen before. We decided to watch 4 episodes for the review because that's the classic
The fourth
RIT
episode
anime spread.
felt like it could have been the last episode of the show.
Yeah, if that had been the whole show, that would have been a great show.
You could have you could have just pretended that was episode 4. It was the last episode and not watched any more of it, and you would have believed it was the end.
Though you would also have learned that Japanese people have a really fucked up sense of what a pizza is.
Yeah,
He's like, I'm gonna make a pizza. Oh, but I need bacon. It's like, what? What?
Why not?
Bacon? Yeah, no, why not? Indeed. But the fact that you don't think I'm going to make a pizza, semicolon, I need bacon. That's not the first thing you think. Bacon is one of those more esoteric ingredients on a pizza. It's not the first thing.
You do when your pet's name is pork bowl.
The pizza did look really good, though.
Yeah, I'd eat that.
It was like that thick bacon and asparagus and tomato sauce and that cheese they stole. Mm-hmm. Well, they didn't steal it. They blackmailed him to get it.
You know, they talked about getting flour, where they had to just fuck tons of flour, right? They did not mention where they got any yeast from. Not to say that a farm has no yeast.
I'm assuming
but there was an ingredient there that they did not source.
Maybe they got natural yeast. Or maybe they keep cultures.
I'm just saying they probably do, but they didn't, you know,
Well, they
every
did not
single other ingredient that
had
was
a
in
character associated with it.
Exactly, but they didn't even bother mentioning, you know, that one ingredient that was necessary for the dough.
I'm wondering it, but it's weird that so usually 4 episodes is enough to give you a sense of a show, but not accomplish anything significant. Like I remember Initial D, at the end of episode 4, you know what the show is like, but you don't know if Takumi wins that first race. 4 episodes was our go-to.
The 4th episode of this is basically a race that he wins in the end, and that's the end.
So I'm wondering if the rest of the show just takes off on the farm stuff in much more detail and a bunch of like subplots and all the other characters.
Yeah, I hope it goes off in the other characters, right?
I really want to see what a lot of their deals
like one
are.
episode each resolve their deal.
I would like to see that Mayumi goes home to her cheese house episode.
Oh, yeah.
Or Tamako and whatever her like ping pong life is like.
But yeah, if you need a feel-good animes to watch after you watch Kill la Kill, because that's only 20 minutes long and you already watched the episode of Kill la Kill twice, then you can watch this.
Oh my god, I watched the first episode of Kill la Kill again the other day. God damn. I am hard
My favorite
pressed.
episode is still the one where
Someone
keep getting
gets a uniform who didn't have one.
They keep getting better apartments and better apartments and better apartments, and then they
That was a pretty good episode.
Yeah.
Kill la Kill is just... We'll talk about it again once it's done. There's no point in even saying anything other than that. It's everything we expected it to be and more. Just that first episode when the kid's running down the stairs and you see Gomagori just falling in the window.
Yep.
So if you're not watching Kill la Kill, or you just need more anime to watch, and you haven't already watched Madoka, this is one of the better shows that's ongoing right now.
That we know of, that we've seen.
I've scrolled through Crunchyroll. There's maybe 5 other shows I would consider possibly having potential that are ongoing right now that maybe we'll have to watch 4 episodes of and review. I think I will watch the rest of Silver Spoon.
I might, if I have time.
But I'm going to not binge on it. I'm going to watch it sporadically until Kill la Kill ends. If I haven't finished Silver Spoon and Kill la Kill ends, then I'm going to watch Ghost in the Shell. And then once that's done...
I'm waiting. See, that's the thing. There's a bunch of anime right now I'm not watching because I'm waiting. Like Gundam Unicorn, the last episode's coming like early next year. As soon as that comes out, I'm going to watch all the Gundam Unicorns. And Ghost in the Shell Arise, as soon as the last one comes out, going to watch all of them. Evangelion, you know... Something you will not
9.99.
You will not watch these movies, whatever. I'm gonna watch all those when all of them are out, right? So it's like there's a whole ton of animes that are really good.
But meanwhile, I watch Adventure Time. If Adventure Time comes out, I pretty much watch it that day.
Oh, I don't. I guess there might be a couple Adventure Times I've
No,
seen.
there hasn't been another episode. In fact, the last time I checked, there was no date for the next episode.
What's the newest episode?
It's still Root Beer Guy.
I haven't seen that one. There you go.
Oh, you should watch that one. So you saw
James.
Yes. The one after James is just Root Beer Guy. Just a guy going about his life.
All right.
Reminds me of Davey a little bit.
Okay.
He's a Root Beer Guy.
Okay.
But I don't think they haven't announced more episodes. Though I did watch the semi-episode that is in the cutscenes of the Adventure Time dungeon game.
Is it good?
It revealed information.
Okay.
It was not. There was only one good thing. I'm going to spoil it because it's just that game is so shit.
Good.
So You can watch the cutscene. There's almost no content in these cutscenes.
Okay.
The big monster at the end is pink goo and it explodes everywhere. And it gets all over.
Is it Princess Bubblegum?
It's her parents, basically.
Okay.
It gets all over LSP, but it doesn't get all over anyone else. So there's this heartfelt moment in the foreground where Princess Bubblegum and Finn and everyone are kind of explaining what happened and kind of talking it out. And in the background, LSP is just getting increasingly visibly angry. How come it got all over me and not all over everybody else? This is so gross. Oh, and she's getting madder and madder and madder at how dirty she is and how no one else was affected. And that was the funniest thing in that entire fucking game.
Okay.
All right, yeah, watch Silver Spoon if you're not watching all those other things we talked about. Might be 1 or 2 more episodes of Geeknights until next year, but don't hold your horses. Don't hold your breath. Don't count your horses.
You're lucky you got this one.
It's busy times for Rim and Scott right now. This has been Geek Nights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geek Nights is not 1, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.